Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I am back again with another CD track episode of One Track Record. And today I want to talk a bit about the bonus content that was just released, okay, on Rapunzel, aka Personette. Hopefully, all of you are having a great day. I know I am. But I was hoping some of you would just comment and let me know what you thought. But I think some of you are still baffled by the events that were spoken of as far as the origin story. So I am here with a follow up episode just to shed some insight after both doing research and also telling the story and comprising a few key elements to make it not necessarily my own, but to kind of differentiate from those who have told the story before in a new and exciting, interesting way without leaving any key components out. Sorry. Um Here I am today to speak on a few elements that I think are very important, to say the least. So, I'm here with you, and I'm just baffled on so many things that happened that went over my head that it wasn't until I was cleaning the house, tending to the house, that I'm just like, hmm. Aside from there being so many similarities of these origin stories, this one in particular was a little triggering, right? And some of you are probably wondering, like, where am I going with this? So let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it, okay? So, the first component that I want to talk about was the evil fairy, right? Moran was willing to kidnap a child but not take care of it properly. Wet. And that's okay for you. Anyway, so she's willing to kidnap a child, not take care of it. And then the first thing that came to my mind was how many children have not necessarily been kidnapped, but have been taken from their biological homes, okay, and had been raised by people who didn't really care for them, aka the foster care system. Yeah, I went there. How many children are going missing today? Okay. They're not thought about, maybe because for whatever reason they are children of color or they are children of other nations that are then shipped to this country. And if you haven't had the chance to see the movie Sound of Freedom, I feel like you should go see that. Matter of fact, it's actually supposed to be coming out on DVD within another week or two and to streaming services again. So, yeah, if you haven't, go watch it. I went to the theaters to see it with my mother. I know a lot of people have been complaining about it not being shown or shown properly without some type of weird activity going on in theaters, but I'm here to tell you it's worth seeing. I think everybody should see that movie. Okay. Next topic of discussion, Hugo and Constance's fertility issues and it being a possible sign, in my humble opinion, that they shouldn't have been parents. And I'm not saying that Constance didn't deserve to be a mother. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm really saying is that maybe she was ready to be a mother, but Hugo was not ready to be a father. And I say that because, as nervous as they both were, she seemed to have played her position very well, aside from the fact that she was annoying with her pregnancy cravings. Let's not get it twisted here. But Hugo. I'ma kind of need you to be the man of your household. And if you really felt like stealing was wrong, you let your wife convince you to get you into certain consequences, but didn't even have the cojones to tell her. Why? Why are you always so scared of another woman? If you're supposed to be a parent, you're going to let other people dictate how you live your life. So what happens when the child comes and you and Constance don't agree on things? Are you going to fold into her every time? And this is why it's very important for the men also on my channel, my male track stars, to pay attention to what's going on in these fairy tales, because just when you might think, oh, this, I don't see how this relates to me, I think it very much does. Because as a man, if I was a man and I was listening to this, I'd want to study this because I would want to know why women were bred to think this way, to look at these fairy tale origins or not look at these fairy tale origins. But these women grow up to think everything is sweet, everything should be given to them. A man that comes into their life is a prince charming. Okay, this is delusional, again, deceptive, delusional thinking. It's irresponsible thinking. But child, let's keep going because I got notes. Okay, can we talk about Hugo's desperation to make his wife happy and in the end made him and his wife miserable? We still don't know, based off of the version that I told you of Personette, if they even got to meet their daughter after her being MIA for years. They last saw her when she was what, the day before her 12th birthday? And she was in that tower for years. And that's another thing. They never specified as to when Sis met the prince, they got married, aka consummated their marriage before the actual wedding. Whew. I don't smoke cigarettes, but sis, her innocence and her being so naive, I was so triggered. My blonde was starting to turn white, ash white. ¿Qué es esto? What is this? Anyway, so let me get back into this. I'm getting mad. Ooh, I'm getting mad all over again. Then the next thing I noticed was Moran having absolutely no boundaries. Okay. How do you just let your daughter fall asleep the night before her 12th birthday and get her into a tower so that she wakes up in a new environment? She has no recollection of how she got there. But since you don't mind being a creep from the very beginning and kidnapping people, I guess you had no problems kidnapping somebody and putting them in unfamiliar settings in the first place. You're just a repeat offender. That because that's normal. Said no one. Ma'am, you're sick. So you created this false sense of safety yet again in a tower. But what you ultimately did symbolically was place this girl on a pedestal where you made her feel like she can be touched and spoken to by no one. It was very isolating. And that's one of the ways that abusers tend to manipulate their victims through means of isolation, whether it be isolation financially, emotionally, mentally. They isolate you from all the hobbies and friends that you used to have. They isolate. That's one of the telltale signs of an abusive person, especially an abusive parent. Okay? And again, I am not a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist, but as a person who is interested on interpersonal relationships and has had certain people do certain things to me and to my loved ones, not in my family, but people around me whom I love, I pay very much attention to significant certain patterns, okay? You gotta call a spade a spade. We're not created here to take abuse and take anybody's BS, anybody's bull. Nobody here that's listening to me that's a track star, we were not made or created to be doormats, okay? But we also have to understand it is usually how people feel about themselves inside is a reflection and a direct correlation of how they treat you. So, however people make you feel, for the most part, we're not really supposed to take too personally, but we are human. And the reason why we shouldn't take things so personally is because people have wars and demons they are fighting on the insides of themselves every day that we may never know about. And I say that because I don't know Moran's upbringing. I don't know if she suffered abuse, narcissistic abuse from her parents, but it is manifesting in the way that she stole this child and decided to not raise this child. That, my friends, is a generational curse. Do you see why I have this channel and I'm doing what I'm doing right now? We need to talk about stuff like this. It is not okay to just sit by and see certain tendencies, certain patterns. I don't suggest anybody to go diagnose anybody with anything. But again, if you feel like you may need therapy, please get the help you need. Please. I cannot stress that enough. And don't go diagnosing anybody with anything. But we can look at some tendencies. This is not to shame anybody. This is not to pity anybody. This ultimately is just a sign. Maybe you are the person or somebody you may know is showing signs of them being abused, or maybe they escaped, but they need reassurance each and every day that God allows them to wake up to say, you know what? I escaped. I was a victim. Now I'm a victor with God's help. And I just need confirmation from time to time to let me know that I'm not crazy for the decision I made to leave this person, to escape this situation. I'm just a confirmation for you if that's the case. And God bless you. But If I can help it, I would like to prevent a lot, especially when it comes to narcissistic abuse and psychological, mental, emotional, financial abuse for children. Some of you may be too young to even feel like you cannot escape your situation. There's always a way. There's always a way. You need to reach out to somebody you develop a relationship with that you trust, seek counsel. God will always make a way for escape. And me dating somebody in the past where they showed me signs of this, I ran as fast as I could because you don't have to take none of that. Don't let nobody take your feet, idiots. You hear me? I love y'all. Now, I'm gonna get into a few other points here, so bear with me. I am on one, okay? So let's also go back to the fact that person that always had to question Moran's gestures. So remember the previous episode before this bonus track when I spoke to the men on our first cassette, deception and all that? And I spoke about love bombing. Ladies, we've been love bombed. Men, you've been love bombed. But this is a classic case scenario, okay? Where Personette is always questioning what was the motive behind her mother giving her a tower, behind a prince proposing to her legit 60 seconds, just met him. What's with the remember how I said love bombing usually comes very rapidly? It's like a rush of water kind of thing. It's very much rushed. There's no real time. So you can maybe analyze things for how it is, or no, everything's just rushed, pushed in your face, and it's so inviting. It seems like everything you may want. If somebody doesn't give you the free will to make a choice and exercise your right to circling back to thinking or thinking twice, that's not from God. God allows free will. Satan does not allow free will. Satan gives you an illusion of choice, but all the choices seem to honor him. When God gives you free will, he allows you to choose to honor him and make you happy at the same time, or he allows you to do your own thing, whether it's in his will or not. But if it's outside of his will, you have to do everything outside of his will to maintain what's outside of his will. Mhm. When the devil came to Jesus in the desert after a 40-day fast and offered him everything in the world if he bowed down to him, Jesus wasn't stupid. He said, yo, not for nothing. This isn't even my world to have. This is yours. I don't want nothing here. My father created this. I know he was looking at him like, yo, my man, are you stupid? You need to come with the same authority when it comes to anybody trying to give you an illusion of choice. Whether that be a narcissistic parent, an abusive parent, a friend that's trying to manipulate you, a sibling, anybody, anybody. Ask yourself, just like person that did, what's your angle? That's how you enforce that Air Force One, that black Air Force One energy I was talking about. That's exactly what you do. Okay? So let me get off this. Let me get off this screen because baby, I'm getting peeved, y'all. I'm getting peeved. Okay. So something else that I noticed, right? There's something about Moran telling Personette not to cut her hair to me that's just seems super symbolic. And I was waiting for somebody to pick up on this, but I figured, you know what? It's only been a few days. It's only been a few days. Right now, for me, it is Wednesday morning. By the way, y'all got until tomorrow to confirm your vote on the community section as to when you would like or what you would like me to speak on next as far as these fairy tale origins. So far, it seems like The Little Mermaid's in the lead. So y'all got until tomorrow. Anywho, so I thought it was very strange how, again, I said in the bonus track episode of Rapunzel, aka Personette, Personette's story never confirms per se why Moran, her mother, the fairy, was so obsessed with her not being able to cut her hair. And I thought long and hard about it. And then it just hit me today. And I'm like, you know what? If this story was supposed to somewhat be dedicated to Barbara the martyr, Saint Barbara the martyr, her being a Christian, I would somehow correlate her not being able to cut her hair kind of like the same way Samson in the Bible was supposed to never cut his hair as a sign from God and a promise to him that he would maintain all physical strength. So there's something about hair and strength. And I Googled this. And apparently, hair is supposed to represent spirituality. Okay. It is supposed to be an extension of you spiritually. So that feeling you got when I read, which by the way, I had comprised my own kind of mini script. So some of you thought I was reading from a book. No, I wrote all of that out. I had listened to something and taken in notes, but comprised my own script. So that took 7 hours ish, 6, 7 hours ish. So side note, sidebar. Anyway, so yeah, Samson in the Bible having that covenant with God and his parents that he would never cut his hair. And then Delilah, like Moran, chopping away at the locks, right? They both lose their strength. This is why I also find it very important that you be careful, ladies, who touches your hair, who touches you. Fellas, you too. Be very careful as to who you allow to have contact with you, touching you, and for what reason. I do believe that spirits can attach to people. I do believe that even your hair can hold certain things spiritually that you're not aware of. Subconsciously, you just went over your head. Okay? So, another thing that I had noticed, I'm gonna come off camera for this because I don't want to judge nobody, okay? The prince, I feel, related so much to Personette because being that he too kind of felt isolated the same way Personette did, being that she never had any contact with anyone like her, right? She never grew up around other kids. She never got to interact with anyone but her mother and then the prince and then her children, okay? But he mentions that his father's overbearing. I could only imagine the amount of pressure, okay, it takes to run a kingdom, be able to take up special interests that kings are supposed to, such as hunting. And he's just like, yo, that's not even my stilo. I'm not trying to hunt down game. I'm not trying to do any of this. I just want to have a conversation with somebody who's like-minded, who's equally yoked, right? For y'all that understand what does equally yoked mean? Equally yoked is something that the Bible speaks about, where you want to be married to someone who shares the same beliefs as you, who shares core values the same as yours, same morale, same spirituality. Okay, you guys aren't on two different levels when it comes to that, because ultimately what you believe on, what you stand on is going to be the core of the household when it comes especially to raising children. That is very important. Just as important as it is for finances, a lot of other things. There's a lot of other things you need to speak about that Personette and the prince did not speak about. She just said, "Oh, he's my meal ticket right out of this tower. So I'm gonna just go ahead." You see, fellas, this is why it's important, just as much as for women. It's important for y'all too to screen women, screen them, test them, not get on their nerves, test them, but test them in the ways that they think. Okay, throw out hypotheticals, see how she's gonna act in certain situations. Don't just get be on some Prince right here and just get on one knee after 60 seconds of meeting her and saying, "Yo, you the baddest I've seen ever." And I've been around plenty of women, okay? And you can sing, you can sing real nice. You try and get married, you try and have a baby, you try and like do something tonight. No, no. Fellas, you're the prize too. Okay? Start acting like it. So that when these women who don't deserve you, right? These women that don't deserve you think that they can just get you because you act a certain way. Stop giving them stop proving birds right. Stop doing that. Stop. Okay? It's about to be 2024. I don't want to hear no more podcasts about men trying to say that they're high value men. Women, I don't want to hear nothing about how these men ain't ish. I don't want to hear that no more. We tired of that. No, it's a no for me. Because you cannot be 45 out here saying all men ain't ish. You cannot be 52 out here with 3 illegitimate children. Okay. You running from everybody, including the Lord. And you mean to tell me you still looking for love and you still saying all women ain't ish? Please miss me with that. No. I think we all need to take some accountability, myself included. I am not perfect, okay? And some of you may be like, well, for somebody who's 30 years old, okay, you're single. You've been single, you said, for years. How are you able to give all this relationship advice? You know why? Because I have married friends, because my parents are together, happily married, because I have a track record of people surrounded by family, friends, all that, who are married and are doing well. That's why I can speak on it, because I have examples. I'm not going to sit here and ask nobody for advice on something they're not successful in. I'm not going to give you guys advice on relationships right now. What all I can tell you is from where I went wrong and things that I've seen. That's why I'm giving this angle of it. Just you wait until I start with my interviews and talking to certain people, certain friends I have that are married, successfully married. And you know what else is important? And this right now is for my married folks. Surround yourself with people that support you and your spouse, not just you. Meaning, if you come to me as my friend who is married, not only am I going to support you, I'm going to support your husband or your wife as well. Because the two of you became one when you said I do to him, in front of him. All right, you know what? Let me get off this camera again because I promised I wasn't going to preach. Like, I promised I was not going to go off on a tangent and preach, but here I am. All right. So, yes, the prince having an overbearing king father, okay? Parents parents need to think about the effect that they really have on their children when they are being overbearing for real. And again, some of you are like, yo, you don't got no kids. Where are you coming from with this? Do you see how much stress this prince was over to the fact where he felt too, just like person that he needed to escape his overbearing father by go ahead and getting married to the first person who he deemed eligible but didn't even know? You took no time to actually know her, my guy. You just say, yo, one knee, boom. I'm gonna propose to you, no ring, boom. Okay, sure. Anyway, now also a few more things that I noticed. So, did anybody else peep that Walt Disney, as far as the creator of all these movies or the CEO, whatever he is, right? He kind of took the concept of the mysterious maiden singing voice in the woods from the story of Personette, and he low key applied it to the movie Sleeping Beauty. For my Disney heads, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, Aurora, she had the nice opera voice with the right acoustics, okay? She was a belter, okay? She sang from her toes. It just it's giving siren energy. All these fairy tales of all these women who lure men with their voices, their singing voices, and somehow they're just like a beacon in the wilderness. I It's almost as if there's that theme, that femininity that's just woof right in your face. Somehow a singing voice becomes like a psyop to lure men to their death or to lure men to destruction. Men, you got to be careful with women. We're not dealing with just the women that your grandfathers and your fathers were used to dealing with. This breed of women now, bruh. Like women, I feel bad for us, but men, ooh, think about it this way. We may not have women singing their hearts out in the wilderness to draw men in. But I'm pretty sure, men, you can agree with me, some women as well. In your Instagram feed, are there not a whole bunch of women twerking right in? All right. All right. What's the next one? Woo! All right. So the prince in essence, right, is very much a victim of his own circumstance, okay? Aside from him being a complete creep, out of desperation, he also wanted to escape the same way she did. Their circumstances, their situations, just they both felt trapped. Either it be by the pressures of society or the lack thereof, but being confined your entire life to never deal with anyone. That's pretty sad. And this is why it's also important to, before you set your heart out to just, oh, I want a relationship. Oh, I want a relationship. You're supposed to not have your ducks in order all the way, per se, but you're supposed to do as much work as you can to be one whole person so you can meet another person who's whole. So the two of you, the end goal is to become one through marriage. Okay. It is not your partner's responsibility to fix you or to make you happy. Please get that idea out of your head. It's very much delusional, it's destructive. You cannot place the responsibility of your partner to make you happy. They're supposed to make you happier, but it is not their responsibility to make you happy. You have to do that yourself with the help of God. And let me be clear too. Happy is very much situational, but joy is something that is unshakable. Joy is something that's acquired, and it's an active decision. It's a lifestyle. It's a way to say, this circumstance or this season in my life right now is not the best or the most comfortable, but I'm happy nonetheless because I know I have hope that tomorrow or next month or next year will be better. Okay. And I recently spoke to one of my listeners who's also a dear friend. And I may have also mentioned my ideas on this next thing I'm about to say in previous episodes, but I believe there's a difference between personality and character, where personality, in my opinion, is something that can be seen on the outside by people who don't know you, and it's very much situational, meaning it's appropriate for the occasion. Somebody who can first meet me can say, oh my gosh, she's so outgoing, she's so bubbly, she's so charismatic, she has a way with words. Okay, that's personality can change. You can meet me bubbly one day, and then the next day I'm just like, wow, I ain't feeling all my best today. And someone could be like, oh, she's very uptight. She's very cold. She's very aloof, right? But character is a track record. Character is consistency. Character says, you know what? Despite the different ways Shayna has revealed herself to me, she's reliable, she's loyal, she is humble, She has had the opportunity to put herself in different she's had the opportunity to show herself in different lights, but she did this instead. And she's never deviated from this pattern. That is character. If I had to guess what the character of the prince would be, I would say he is a little delusional and he is a hopeless romantic, right? His personality kind of shifted between Moran and Personette, right? One minute he was very caring and loving, the next minute he's just like, I'm a fighter. He went from being a lover to a fighter, but his character, nonetheless, he was a hopeless romantic. You guys need to assess more when you are dating somebody, or even when you're just maintaining a friendship or, let's say, a business partnership. What is this person's personality versus what is their character? Is this person somebody that I can back money behind? Is this somebody who I can raise children with? It's not enough to just say personality wins. Nah, good character wins. What kind of track record am I getting from this person? What track record are you getting from me? This isn't a cult. If you decide right now, after what? I've been here since July. If you decide now that, you know what, she ain't my cup of tea, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. My personality changes. I can go from serious to silly in the drop of a dime. Some days I'm a glass of water. Other days I'm a latte with an extra espresso shot. All right? But nonetheless, I know for some, I'm hydrating. I keep it consistent as far as I'm going to tell you my emotions. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm also from Long Island, New York. Okay? I'm going to let you know how I feel. And if I don't open my mouth to say it, my face will. That's me. It don't get any more cut and dry. All right, let me get off this because people are like, oh my gosh, she's yelling at me. I'm really not. I'm sorry. I'm not a bully. Okay, I am a little bit, but only towards my brother. Don't say amen too loud. I know he around here lurking too. Bye. Anyway, so I just wanted to circle back to, and again, some of the men are probably just like, why is this story important to me? Why do I even have to listen to these fairy tales and their origins? And you know what? Maybe it's not important to you, but again, if I was a man, I would want to know what I'm fighting against every day if I was single and had to go out in a dating pool like this where women starting from childhood as young girls and then developing as the women they are today, were they brainwashed? Or if I'm really feeling a girl who is now a woman, what am I going to have to counteract in order to get through to her or to make her feel at peace? Or, ladies, what is it that you need to work on so that you make a man feel at peace? We spoke about this in the cassette episodes. Okay. Side A and side B. What are you doing to restore peace, to give peace, to make peace? I think this is a worthy conversation to have. And feel free to sound off in the live chat or the comments in regards to this fairy tale, things that you feel I may have missed or that you'd like me to discuss, and I would gladly talk about it in combination with the other bonus track episodes that I will be releasing. I am working on these mostly because you guys have requested, because side A for that Deception cassette tape was very, very cutthroat. And I should have had a trigger warning for said episode because it spoke about a lot of triggering things. It did. Yeah. But yeah, I think I am done sounding off. Okay? You guys have a great rest of your day. I will chat, type, and talk with you soon. Track stars, I'm out. Have a good one.